All right, you guys, it's a moment you have all been waiting for, the day that Missy completely loses her marbles. Yep, I have gone Looney Tunes. I've been driven completely over the edge, so bear with me. This game has fucking got me at my wit's end. I'm ready to break this fucking phone. You don't even know the bullshit that I've been dealing with, okay? And I'm sure y'all have been dealing with the same shit. Y'all probably stayed up all night with your eyes burning, fucking watching the stupid-ass leaderboard, and you get bumped down last minute, and you're like, son of a bitch, fuck this goddamn game. Anyways, I'm not going to start the day off cussing. It's only like, what time is it here? 6:43, yes, and I'm already up pissed off. Now, I'm not really pissed off. I'm just like, what the fuck, seriously? So let me tell you a little something about this damn game. It'll have you at your fucking highest point of just pissed off, okay? You waste your whole fucking week to lose, right? Okay, well, if you had that problem this week, that really does suck, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Anyways, so I'm going to teach you guys how not to lose the contest of mayors, okay? I'm going to teach you about all the bullshit that people will do last minute to knock your ass down. I'm going to teach you how to fucking keep a steady pace so that you're not just like, hey, I got 1 day left and 50 assignments and 15 tickets to go. No, you can't be having that shit going on, right? That is why people pay to bring the flights back. That is why a lot of people don't play CoM competitively because of the level of commitment that it requires. Now, ask yourself this. First off, you have to ask yourself what level you are. How easy is it for you to complete these tasks? Are you limited to upgrade tasks? Are you limited to production tasks because you don't have tokens? Are you limited on time because you actually have a life and you do go to sleep at night, right? Yeah, well, that's all over now if you want to play the Contest of Mayors competitively in Mega, especially as a low-level player. Notice how I said play CoM competitively? Because before any smart-ass people watch this video and comment and say, I can pull 100 average. No, that's not 100 average. That's 100K, okay, for 1 week. And 100K for 1 week in Mega is not a good average. And you're not going to win competitively if you're playing against people that actually know what they're doing, right? Now, how do you know if you should compete? Well, first you're going to go watch my video where I explain to you guys how to look at people's profiles, okay? You're going to, why the hell do I see people's fucking Facebook messages popping up on my damn phone? That means I didn't turn my notifications off like I was supposed to. Give me just a second. Okay. Nothing against you, whoever dude you are. I can't pronounce your name. I forgot it already. I just talked to this guy yesterday, posted on our Facebook group. Nothing against you. I'm just trying to do a video, so I need you off my screen. And I know that if I don't turn my notifications off, I'm telling you guys, this damn phone, the shit, dude, this thing blows up all damn day. If I leave this thing unattended for like an hour, it's going to spontaneously combust. Like just fucking done, gone, poof, incinerated. So if I'm ever not doing videos for a couple of days or whatever, just know that that is why, that my phone just blew the fuck up. Or I probably took my 9mm and shot it because I'm sick of this shit. Okay? Now, looking at this stupid thing here. Yeah, there's my shit for this week. I didn't even know because I wasn't paying attention. I was in Metro. I don't even know where I got on the leaderboard, to be honest with you. I know it's bad. Okay, yeah. 80th is perfecto. Cool. So, 23 tasks left with 15 tickets. I started with 50 tasks, right? That means that I did 37, right? Yep. 7 tasks, and I have 51,310 points. Well, we know that's over a 2K average. So, if I wanted to proceed on, I would have to do what? I would have to spend an obscene amount of money. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you have Omega unlocked or you have the regionals unlocked, you're looking at spending a very nice pretty penny on the Contest of Mayors. Now, if you are between levels 25 and like 36, something like that, 38 maybe even 40. You know, you're going to be dealing with a lot of people that are just like yourself, but there's probably going to be some pretty low, there should be some pretty low competition. I feel like it's like I'm talking about a weather front. Like, you're all going to have a pretty low, mild to to high average this week. Like, what the fuck is this shit? It's ridiculous. Okay, so you guys have 100 people in your league, right? Okay. Now, how many of those people each week give you a run for your money? Now, if you're against the same people every single week and you're camping and you're low level, then you need to pump the brakes and ask yourself, why is this person in the same league as you every single week? Are they watching Missy's videos? Are they camping? Do they just have a clue what they're doing? Maybe they've been playing the game for 6 years and they just kind of have an idea what's going on. How to know that? Well, you're going to click on your leaderboard and you're going to go all the way to the top, wherever that is for you. And for me, I'm all the way at the bottom. Not that I care. Oh, gee, that was closer. So here we are looking at, this is a level 99 Mega League, right? Let's click on Mr. G-Man. Oh, come on, man. Doesn't let me click on it anymore at the end of the week? That is some BS, dude. Okay, well, there goes that idea. Apparently, I can only click and see their stuff when it is the beginning of the week, which it's never been that way before. So if you wanted a tip for today, this is your tip for today, that the game is a POS. Again, another bullet hole in my phone. This is the shit I'm talking about. Like, who sits down at EA and says, you know what? I'm going to fucking be like, I want to fuck the damn fuck out of this game to where nobody wants to play it, and then I'm going to put such a high price tag on it that the only people that do stick behind and play it go damn bankrupt, right? Well, they sit up there with their feet up collecting all your damn money. And you sit down here with your eyes bleeding going to work every day like a sheep, wondering why you're still sitting here playing this stupid game, right? That's where I'm at with it. Oh, wait, I don't work. Well, yeah, I do. I bust my ass for free. It's even worse. Jesus Christ, how stupid. What the fuck's wrong with me? Okay, so, yeah. Different tactic. You guys, I have screenshots of everybody that is in my group, okay? They all, and some of you that are not in my group, they have all sent me screenshots of their task list throughout the whole week in order, and I'm just waiting on a reply from them that says, this is when I stop giving a shit. This is when I stop making the right choices. That way I can go through the task list and I can show you guys what the correct choice is and how to utilize that Contest of Mayors guide. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be kind of explaining some CoM tips that you guys... Okay, you guys, I am back. So, what are you guys going to do for the Contest of Mayors? Tips, tricks, how do you hit Mega? How do you not stay up all damn night watching the leaderboard? Well, if you're staying up all night watching the leaderboard, that sucks, okay? If you're not going to win, you're not going to win, so you might as well just go to sleep. Because here's the way I see it is this. If you're in Mega, you should have been giving it your all no matter what, right? So the only time you should really be looking at the leaderboard if you're in Mega is during the time in which you're doing your tasks. That way you know if you're a hacker or you know if you should even bother using your tickets or running a 2K average or wasting your time or what have you. Now, if it's gotten to the point where you know you're going to be running a 2K average, you know you're going to be using all 15 tickets, then there's absolutely no point in you looking at the leaderboard because really it doesn't matter. You're going to be doing the best you can do no matter what, and you're not going to have any tasks left to do it. Now, let's say that you have about 10 tickets left remaining, right? That is loop territory. You're going to have sometime between your last 10 assignments, your actual assignments, and your 10 tickets. That is when you're going to fall into loop territory. If you don't know what that is, then you need to go and watch the video that explains what that is, okay? I'm not going to do all that shit in this video, but I am going to tell you this. When you guys are in the Mega League, you have to run a steady pace. If you go too damn slow, you're not going to finish your tasks. If you go too quickly, you're not going to be doing the best that you can do. So here's the top 5 mistakes that I see a lot of people make. And the first one is that they are very impatient and they pick the wrong task very early on. This is what I mean by this is, let's say it's the beginning of the week. And for example, this week, many of you noticed that you guys all had an overflow of 3K tasks. I don't know if somebody just got really fucked up at EA and just fell asleep on the keyboard and somehow fucked the whole game up. I don't know. I can tell you this. I have been playing this game a long time and I have never seen anything like that. If it was not an accident, if, and notice how I'm saying if, because I don't know, and none of us know unless we work at EA. I don't even think half the people that work at EA know. But I'll tell you this, if it was not an accident, then we're looking at a whole different tactic of how we do things. If the contest of mayors is really going to be the way that it was this last week, a lot of you are going to have to make some serious changes with how you pick your tasks, because you're going to experience a major downtime. Now, typically what happens during your downtime, and I have videos on this, that is where you want to rotate out, and this is a tongue twister, so pay attention. You want to rotate out higher non-premium tasks to get lower point non-premiums, so that when you get to your high time, you have higher premiums, okay? That if you did not understand what I just said, you might want to rewind the video and listen to that again. I have a video where I talk all about what that means. All you have to do is go and hunt it down and watch it. Many of you ask me questions in the comments that I have answers to in, I've got 170 videos, dude. Trust me, I've covered damn near every topic there is to cover in detail. The answers are on the channel. All you got to do is look at the right place, the right video. I'm going to be doing a lot more thorough videos from this day on, but they're all out there. So when you guys are in your downtime, what the big mistake that a lot of people made in my group this week is that they stalled. They didn't know what to do. So they just kind of sat there like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. I don't want to screw myself up. And they didn't know what task to pick. And they didn't prep well enough. If you want to play CoM competitively, you have to be able to complete 75 assignments in 5 days' time. And it also depends on what time the contest of mayor starts and ends for you. For me, on the Pacific time zone, I start the contest of mayors Tuesday at 11 p.m., which means I'm asleep for like the first 12 hours, right? Well, Missy doesn't really sleep, right? She sleeps like a dolphin. I think it's like with half the brain or some shit at one time. Like I'm some kind of weirdo. But I hold my phone in my left hand and I have my stylus in my right hand. And I just fall asleep for like 30 minutes at a time. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh shit. And sometimes it's my timer if it's like a metal task. And man, that makes you want to smash your phone. But I don't play CoM competitively. If I was, what would I have to do to win at my level? I would have to pay a lot of money. I would end up putting more into it than I get out of it to do it correctly. And at my level, I see a lot of hackers. Okay? So it's not worth it to me. When you spend a week's worth of your time busting your ass and spending good time, money, and brain energy to win, and you get bumped down last minute, it's enough to make you want to throw in the towel on it all. But if you're a really competitive person, you're like, nope, I'm not going to nope, hell no. I'm going to be there and I'm going to do this shit till I get it right, right? And that's why you're here at some ungodly hour watching my video. Okay, so what do you do to win? What do you have to do to win? Well, first thing you have to do is you have to say, well, how many tasks can I get done each day, right? And so you have to ask yourself, if you have to get 75 tasks done in 5 days' time, and then you have your sleep time, which you spend however many hours sleeping, and then you have the downtime between whatever it is that you do in your real life, whether it be work, whether it be, just eat, drink, use the bathroom, you have to be able to be consistently checking on your game. Meaning, if you're a level 18 player, for you level 18 players, you guys have the hardest time that you can possibly have because you have to prep your shops, okay? You guys have to have, every single shop has to have 11 items being made, well, 10 items done, and 1 making at all times, and it has to be the same item. And this way you don't lose out on all this downtime because of production tasks. So you're going to break down your list for whatever level that you are, and you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to say that if I wanted to, typically what happens is the beginning of the contest of mayors happens. And then people are like, okay, cool, I know it's starting. I'm going to be on for the next, 6 hours playing the game. I'm going to get some shit done. And then you get a production task that takes 12 hours right off the get-go. And you're like, wow, that sucks. I'll just do that one later and I'll work around it. You cannot do that, especially early on in the game, because that is your higher task, right? So I'm going to pull up some screenshots from my group and the people that I deal with each day, and I have like, you know, them doing CoM training. Some of these people have a pretty good idea what they're doing. Some people are very new. So I'm going to pull up their tasks and we're going to talk about where they went wrong and the, you know, right when they first made the wrong decision. So give me just a second to pull up their stuff and I will be right back. All right, you guys. So this is Mr. SimCity Bean. He's in my group and this is his first week in Mega. So we're going to cut him some slack for making the wrong decisions. And he's still learning. But I wanted to use this as an exercise to kind of explain what happened in this week's tasks. Now, I haven't even actually looked at any of these, to be honest with you. I saw them when they first came in, when everybody was asking like what tasks to do, but I was so busy all week that I really couldn't check in with them the way that I normally would. So they all kind of had to help each other. And it, with this week being an odd week with the 3K tasks, I didn't know what to tell people at that point. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if you're going to proceed on and you're just going to see, you know, like 6 3K tasks at all times. But it appears as though, and like I said, appears as though these people did not see more than 2 3K tasks aside from the initial start. Now, if you did, if you're somebody that did see more than 2 3K tasks after the initial set of tasks that were given, then I want you guys to comment below. And if you could reach out to me on Facebook and send me those screenshots, it would be super helpful. Hopefully everything's back to normal this next week. But honestly, I don't know. I have no way of knowing until the next week starts. So we'll see what happens. But if this is the way it is, then we're going to have to change a few things. It means you guys are just going to have to learn what those downtimes are and how to do a better rotation. The downtimes happened. They've always happened, but they weren't this drastic. Because the points were so high and the average went so high, you had to have a very huge downtime to get you back down to like a 2K to like 2,300 average, which is why you guys will see that I had done 37 tasks and had 51,000 points, right? So did I do 37? Why did I say I did, no, that would be if I was in Mega. I did 327 because I was 50. Yeah, because I had run a 2K. Okay. I was like, that means I didn't run a 2K average. See what I'm saying? It's not, I haven't even had coffee yet. This shit is a head fuck. Okay. So 60 tasks. This tells me he's in Mega because I know that if you're in Mega, you start with 60 tasks. If you're in Metro, you start with 50. If you're in any other league besides Metro, you cut the assignments down by 5. So if you're at 50 in Metro, you're at 45 in the next one, 40 in the next one, 35, and so on. The last two, 50, and then a 10 assignment jump is 60 for Mega. That's how I remember it. I just remember that the last one is a 10 assignment jump. Okay. So if you can remember that you get 60 in Mega, you can count down from there. Now, that being said, for 60 tasks to run a 2K average, you would need 120,000 CoM points by the end of your 60 tasks. Then you have your 15 tickets. So what do people do at the end of the contest when they've been sitting at the top of the leaderboard for like the last day or so? And you're watching them and you're like, okay, I think they're out of points. Well, you got to kind of watch their score, see what is their score. Are they at a 2K average? Are they somebody who's been playing a long time? You can tell all that stuff if you go watch my how to read somebody's profile. Go watch that video first. Before you play CoM competitively, you want to watch the leaderboard. The first 24 to 48 hours is the most important because that'll tell you if you have a hacker right away. But typically now, the hackers wait till last minute to just put up an obscene amount of points. So it's always really, really good to get a timestamp photo of the leaderboard the last, I'd say about 6 hours or so. Just get a shot of the whole thing. And that way, if you see somebody that was in 60th place with no points at all, jump to the top of the leaderboard with like 200,000 points, you know, hey man, that ain't right. And you can report it to SimCity and get them banned to Naughty Island. Now, if you suspect somebody's hacking because they added 40,000 points in 1 hour, no, that does not mean they're hacking, okay? That is a really easy thing to do when you don't care about what you're doing. So don't stress about big jumps like that. That isn't even impressive, okay? When somebody jumps that many points last minute, it usually means that they had multiple tasks in their list, like this guy right here, right? Imagine if these were right around 2,400 points. Imagine if he had done them all and had them all ready to collect. Now, that is what you want to do. You want to work your top 3 tasks that are the most important, but you're not going to collect on all of them, right? So let's say that you get a paint task done and you have a paint task in your queue for 1,900 points, right? But then you get a glue task pop up after you already had the paint done, and it's for 2,400 points. You are not going to collect on that paint. You cannot afford to collect on that paint yet. You might end up doing it later, but you can't afford to do it yet. You may never do it. You know, it depends on how many tasks you have left. It depends on a lot of things. But you definitely need to remember that slow and steady finishes the race, but you don't want to go so damn slow you're going in reverse, right? Now, talking about this guy's tasks, I'm going to show you guys the next task here. You can tell which one he did, right? So let's go back and see which one it was. So he had done, which one is not there? See, normally people send me screenshots of the one they actually clicked on, and he sent me screenshots of the task beforehand, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to understand. So give me just a sec here. I'm missing. Hold on, you guys. This is going to be a pain in the ass. Okay, so I don't know what I'm high on, but yeah, that makes full sense. He did the monster. Now, I see, because it's like, okay, no shit, that's what he selected. You guys have had like 4 hours of sleep. So, he clicked the monster first. Obviously, the monster was there because he was able to add the 2,500 points. Now, I don't know how long he had on his monster that was left, but I would not have picked this task first. Why would I not have picked this task first? Because it's low. It's the monster task, which we would usually leave sit, right? Unless it's worth 2,500 points. So he would have been able to, if it were my list, I would be looking at it going, okay, I know I'm going to probably have to do that monster at some point. So I want to go and look and see how long until he gets here. And if he was there for like an hour, then maybe I might do it, but probably not, to be honest with you, not with all this stuff going on. I probably would have just said, fuck it, I'm going to leave that one sit. It's too low of a points value in this current situation. So looking at his task list now, we can tell that he probably stayed up, or I don't know what time it is for him when the contest of mayor starts, but at any rate, he was on, and this is when he started playing the game. Now, what task should he have done first, and why? Now, what do we need to look at before we make our selection? We need to look at what city level he is. Why is city level important? And this is all stuff that's in the Contest of Mayors guide that I have written for you guys. City level is important because of the competition, because of items unlocked, because of, the type of tasks that are going to be accessible to you. For example, if you're a level 18 player, I know that a production task is going to make you pull your hair out because you don't have tokens, which is why running a 2K average as a level 18 player is so damn hard. It is not impossible. It is possible each and every week, but it is not easy. Okay, it is for pro level people that understand exactly what they're doing, because you have to have all of your shops prepped at all times as a level 18 player. How do you do that? How do you prep for the Contest of Mayors? Well, you go watch Missy's CoM prep video. That's the first thing. But you guys, as level 18 players to even level 20 players, should do this because you only have silver tokens unlocked. But you don't have to do it as strictly as a level 18 player. But this is what you guys should have done. You should have opened up each and every one of your shops prior to the Contest of Mayors, maybe about 12 to 30 hours prior, depending on what item you chose to make. You should have picked the most common item that you think you would get a production task for, or the item that takes the longest to make, but it really doesn't matter if you never really see a task for it. We know, all of us know, that have been playing the Contest of Mayors since this new shop has come out, that you guys will receive a lot of tasks for this white stone, chiseled stone thing, and the carved wood, which requires those 3 planks and 1 tape. Now, because of that, and the tapestry, you guys know that those are the top tasks within that shop. They're the ones that take the longest, they're the ones that pop up the most, and they're the ones that are usually worth the higher points value. What should you have done before you participate in the contest of mayors in Mega competitively? You should have all 11 slots in every shop unlocked. And if you don't, and you don't have money or cash, then you're not going to be able to play CoM competitively in Mega. You're not. You can play competitively in a sense of, I can add points, but I'm talking running a 2K or higher average. You can't do that at that level without spending cash and without prepping your shops. Now, how do you prep your shops? What do? You guys click on your shop, okay? Now, what they should have done, what he should have done, is he should have picked any item randomly because he doesn't know what he's going to get. And he should have said, okay, for this shop, I'm going to make 11 carved wood. Now, you're going to have to leave those 11 wood sit there, right? But do you leave all 11 sit there? No, you leave 10 sit there. You collect 1 and you always have 1 making. This allows you to not have your shops just sitting idly for days on or hours on end, right? That way, when you guys get a task, I can't tell you how many times CPT or all the other players that play CoM competitively at that level get a task for the production, and they're like, thank God I made the glue ahead of time. Thank God I made the melons ahead of time. Now, there's a lot of times, right, where they get a task for production that they know that they might need later. How do you prep for that? Okay, so let's say that you have a 2,100 point melon task and you have all these 3,000 point tasks here. It's a pretty good probability that after you guys cycle through these 3K tasks that you're going to have to do that 2,100 melon. So how do you do that without totally screwing yourself? And this goes for any level player. It just, as a higher level player with gold tokens, you have an easier time clearing your queue, so to speak. So what this means is I know at some point I'm probably going to collect on that 2,100 point task. What I know about the game is after so many assignments, your average and your assignments start to take a turn for the worse and you start to have these downtimes. During that time, you're going to start collecting on your lower task assignments like your 2,100 point production. Now, when that happens, do I want to say, well, I've had this melon task sitting here for the last day and a half, but I never even started it? Really? Yeah, that's not going to work, dude. You can't be successful at the Contest of Mayors if you're not prepping your shops and you're not prepping your tasks. Now, the biggest issue is that people, they always prep their shops, but they only prep them every now and then, or they prep them with the wrong item, or they prep the task that they're doing and the task below it and not all the others. Don't prep a task for worth 1,000 points for chems, okay? That is foolish, right? Unless you're in a major downtime and you're trying to get something higher to pop up, which those happen in very rare cases. Now, in this case, he should have had, every single shop should have had 10 items done for collection, all the same item, and 1 item making at all times. That way, if he got a production task, he could hopefully get lucky and say, okay, out of the odds that I get this, this, or this, I have a higher probability of this one popping up. So if you get a 2,100 point melon task, let's say I had a 2,100 point melon task in my list right now. I would know that after I did these top 3K tasks, that's going to be the one I collect on. So what do? Do I go to my barn and I collect everything that's sitting there and I make a bunch of melons, throw them all up? Hell no. Hell no. You do that, you're going to screw yourself big time. Because here's what's going to happen, okay? You're going to do these 3K tasks and you could end up getting a task that's higher points value for a different item in that same shop. But now you're sitting there stuck waiting on 1,000,000 melons to finish. So how do you fix that issue? What do you do? Well, I know that I'm probably going to collect on the melons. So I'm going to go to my barn and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, okay, I have 10 veggies done and the 11th one making. For now, until I know otherwise, I'm going to collect 1 veggie and I'm going to make 1 melon in its place value. Now, how do you do that? How do you collect one item, but then still put items up to make? Well, you're going to have to either have max storage when you click on your shop, or you're going to have to click on a shop that is before it, okay? And that way you can cycle through with the yellow arrows so that you don't have to collect your items. This allows you to put one in queue without collecting them all. That way, let's say you were to get a veggies task that was higher than the melons in the meantime. Now you're like, okay, cool. I didn't collect all of them. Now I've got 9 done, the one that was still making, and then I've got the 1 melon that I have to wait to finish. Thank God I didn't fill it with 11 melons, right? But let's say that it spits out 1 veggie and it spits up the melon, and you're like, okay, cool. You're going to keep making the melons and keep collecting the veggies one by one until you have a full queue of melons done. That way, when you finally get to this task, if it ends up being one that you need to do, then it's available for you. And you're going to run every single one of your shops just like that. And if you don't, you will experience huge, huge problems. The reason that this is a problem here, if you look at this task, okay, for a level 18 player, his first task should have been the top chiseled stone task, right? Is that the correct one? No, because he's a level 18 player. Hold on just a second. Okay, you guys, I am back. Now, I have decided that we are going to do the thing about the list, and I explained to you, like which tasks you should pick and all that other fancy stuff in a different video, because I wanted to kind of go through everybody's this week. That way you guys could see exactly what I'm talking about with the change, because I want to analyze it a little bit just before I do the video, because his stuff was set up, his screenshots were set up very difficult because of the fact that I have to see which one isn't in the list versus which one he clicked on. Normally, and just so you guys know, if you guys are sending me screenshots of your task list, send me the very first list should have your the top part of your list, and it should have the bottom part of your list. Then send me the picture. The next screenshot should be a screenshot of the one that you have chosen. Don't wait. Don't pick one, not take a screenshot, do the task, and then take a screenshot of the whole list empty. Do the one that you picked, and that way I know which one you picked without having to eliminate that. It makes it super easy for me to know which one you did. Now, the first one was easy because of the fact that obviously it shows which one he picked. But otherwise, I'm going to have to go through and I'm going to see, okay, he picked this one, but then I don't know what you put at the bottom of the list. So it's easier for me if you just show me which one you picked rather than me have to flip back and forth and go, okay, wait a minute, did he cancel this? Did he pick that? And it's just super difficult for me. Now, there's plenty of strategies for how you pick your tasks. There's a lot of advice out there on the contest of mayors that you have to be very leery of. And I have videos talking about all that stuff, but I'm telling you guys, the main advice out there on this game when it comes to the contest of mayors is bullshit. You guys have got to forget all that stuff, okay? You have to start fresh, and you have to remember that a lot of people that give the advice that they're giving are not successful. They are not giving good advice, and clearly, whatever it is that they're telling you to do is not working, which is why you're here watching this video, right? So, let me guide you. And I've had people in my group that come to me for advice. They don't take my advice. They fight my advice. They argue with my advice. And not in a way of like, I don't understand, like, hey, could you explain to me why you made that choice? It's just, well, I think this is the choice and I don't care about the 97 reasons why you're saying it's not. I'm going to do what I want to do. And then they do it. And then you're like, see, told you. And they're like, oh. And then after you prove them wrong 97 times, they still always want to argue. And I will not teach people like that anymore. I'm not doing it. So if you want to learn from me and you want to watch this video, great. If you want my help one-on-one and you go against my advice, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to do it. But if you come to me and you say, Missy, you know what? I would like to understand, I would have chosen this. You say that I should have done that. Can you please explain why? That is a whole different conversation than, well, I know you say to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this anyways. Even though you make very good points and I have no points, I just think this is what I should do. They do it, they come back and go, I shouldn't have done that. And it just keeps happening, and I'm not going to deal with that shit anymore. So, if you want to learn the right way, you follow me 100%. I've been doing this a long time. I do know what I'm talking about. You might not understand my decisions 100% right away, but you need to remember that I take everything into consideration. So you might see it as, well, I would have done this task because of this, or I would have leveled up because of that. Why? You have to ask yourself, why is Missy saying to level up past this point? Why is Missy saying do this task? What is she considering? Because I know she considers damn near and I do consider everything. Okay? Now, when it comes to the Contest of Mayors task list, let's say that you open up your task list and somebody comes to you, or you're looking at your own list and you're like, you know what? I want to know what task I should do. Based on the advice that's out there, they're going to tell you to do your highest point task and only your highest point task at all times, 100% of the time. That is not always the case, okay? You want to do your highest task and you want to work your top 3 tasks, but that doesn't mean what people think it means. What that means is you want to collect on your highest ones, but you got to make sure that your task list is set up properly. If you do a task that's worth 2,000 points because it's your highest and it's a gold keys task, and you know that task can only ever be worth 2,000 points, so you're going to run a 2K average doing that task. But if you know that one never has the probability of being worth 3,000 points, you have eliminated the all possibility of increasing your average beyond that point by doing that task. Now, if you can only have a certain amount of 3K tasks in your list at any one time, and you have 2 before this week, you could not have more than 2 3K tasks at any one time, okay? Now, I don't know if this week was a fluke. I don't know if anybody received 3K tasks after the initial start. I don't know, because I haven't seen what's going to happen next week. But I will tell you this, before this week, that is how it was. So when I saw it, I saw so many posts on Facebook about, I didn't think it was possible, and it is. It's like, it never was. It has never been possible until this week. Hopefully it goes back to normal. I really hope it does. If it does not, then we're looking at some issues here. But they are fixable and correctable. You just have to change the way you do your initial startup. But essentially, what I'm saying is, if you have 20 tasks left in your list, okay, and you have a 3K gold chest task, which you wouldn't have that now because they eliminated it. But let's say you had a 3K gold chest and you had a 3K upgrade. Every task that you do, before you cancel or do those tasks, will not be worth 3,000 points. You have eliminated all possibility. Now, would you rather cancel a 3K task to open up the probability of getting a 3K task, or would you rather do a task of a lower points value for the next 25 assignments and then lower your average more than you would if you would have canceled the task? So people say never cancel. Well, when you say never, that's foolish, okay? Because there are times where you're going to have to. Now, essentially, you do not want to cancel very often, okay? You only want to cancel if you absolutely have to. When do you have to? When you can't do the task and it needs to open up that premium. Or if you're not getting anything of a higher points value because it's being taken up by it's taking up all the placements where it would. So essentially, the first thing you do at the beginning of the week is you're going to take everything into consideration when making your selection. So what do I know about my task list right now? Let's just pretend for just a minute that that the Contest of Mayors is not completely over. Let's just say I have 1 day left and I have 23 tasks. What do I do now? Okay, I'm in Metro. That is important. Why is being in Metro important? Because I know that I don't need to spend cash on my flights or anything like that, because yes, even though I want to win, I want to be able to have cash when I get to Mega. I want to be able to utilize my tickets when I get to Mega. I have 120 tickets. Tickets are not an issue to me. But because of the fact that I'm in Metro, because of the fact that I want to get into Mega, I want to make sure that I place in the top 10 people so that I can get promoted into Mega. So if you look at your leaderboard, you will see here, it says to be demoted to city, and then it says no prize. Then it says to be promoted into Mega, okay? That means you have to place above that line in order to even get into Mega. So if you want to get into Mega, that is the initial goal. The initial goal is yes to win, of course, but you really just want to get promoted. You don't want to go bankrupt. You don't want to spend $500 cash if you're not in Mega, right? You don't even want to spend $500 cash if you're in Mega, but if you're doing canisters and stuff, you're going to have to. So the very first thing you want to look at is city level. That'll tell you which tasks you're going to be looking at when it comes to production. You're going to look at what league you're in. You're going to look at everything. You're going to look at is it a premium? Is it a non-premium? Is it a production? All these things. So when we're looking at my task list here, essentially what you're going to be doing is I'm going to say, okay, I've got 1 day left of the contest, and I have a feed task that is for 6 hours. Now, why is level important when I'm looking at this? Because here's the thing. I'm a higher level player. Like we're pretending that I'm playing competitively, right? I can make 60 feed in one shot. So I know that I can get this task done in the amount of time that it takes to make the feed one time, right? Whereas a higher level player or a lower level player that has feed unlocked would have to run it 2 times in order to get it done. So now I know that, well, that's not going to be a good thing to do here. I'm not going to be able to do that, right? So I'm going to have to leave that one sit for the moment. So that's my first choice. So the first thing you do is you pick the ones that have the highest points value. Those are the ones you look at first. So that's why I looked at that one first, because it's the one that's the highest. Now I'm like, okay, well, because of my level, I can do that. So I'm going to get my feed started, right? Because it's a factory production task, I know that I can't speed it up with tokens. So I have my feed making. That's already being taken care of. What is my next choice? Why am I not waiting for the feed to be done before I make my selection? Because of how many tasks I have left, with how much time I have left, I cannot afford to sit for 6 hours, okay? So now what's my next choice? My next choice is I need to look at all of the type of tasks that I have. I have a premium sitting there for war deliveries, but my club is not in war. So that one is an out. Can't do that one. I have a production for carved wood, okay? I can get that started, but I don't want to collect on it just yet. I want to get one started at a time, and I want to go over here. So what I would do is I would click on the shop before it, and if you guys have regionals unlocked, if you're higher level players with regionals, what you can do, a little trick you can do, is you can store your regional store in storage and put it on your capital map. That way you can cycle through the yellow arrows without having to collect on your regular shops. So what you're going to do, if I had to make the carved wood, is I would use these arrows here above it to get to that store so that I can place one down, right, and have it making. Once that one has finished, I can click on the store before it, and I can go back to it with my yellow arrow, and I can put a second one down. And this way, if I get a production task for stained glass, I don't have to wait for 11 carved wood to finish before I can collect on it, okay? That is why, and that is an extremely important thing that you have to do. You have to be working all of your tasks, all of your top tasks, and you have to multitask. If you just focus on the one task you're doing, you are never going to finish. You have too many assignments to finish. Just because you do a task, like you complete it or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're actually going to start and complete it. It means that it's there if you need to, okay? But you may never collect on it. And if something comes up in the meantime of a lot more points, then you're just going to have to bite the bullet, collect on it, and then restart it once you've collected something else. What that means is, let's say that I started the carved wood. All 11 are done. I would pick up one of them, right? Saying that I got a task for let's say I got a task for tapestry for like 4,300, right? And I have tokens because I'm a higher level player. So I would say, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do this lower carved wood task right now. You're limited to your tasks. You cannot afford to lose out on points. 100 points here, 200 points there, 500 points here. That adds up, and it will drop your average. And until you can go above 2K, you're not going to get out of the negative, right? So let's say that you're trying to run a 2K average. Right now, you're at exactly a 2K average, and you do a task for 1,000 points. Now you're 1,000 points behind, right? Now you have to make up for that 1,000 points before you can get back up to your 2K average, which means that you either have to do a 3,000 point task, one 3,000 point task to get out of it, or you have to do what? 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You have to do 5 tasks that are 2,200 points just to make up for that one that you missed. So when you cancel, you have to be certain that it's very necessary, okay? Now, in this instance, I also have a chair task that is for 1440. All of these points values are terrible because I'm in my downtime, right? I started with 50 tasks. I had a really good run at the beginning with the 3Ks and stuff. And now the game is trying to level me out. I'm almost out of my downtime here. And just so you guys know, I've canceled like 6 tasks because I knew I was in a time crunch. And I'm not playing competitively. But we're pretending that I am. Okay? So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 production tasks are sitting in my queue right now. I have got to get some of these taken care of. If I touch that shipment at the bottom, you see that for 1,800. You're like probably thinking, why doesn't she do that? Well, if you go to my CoM guide, and trust me, you guys, that thing is crucial. You all need to look at that and really analyze what I say about each task. What do we know about the shipment tasks? We know that, yes, they're worth 1,800 points, but they are never worth more than that. And they pop up back to back, right? So if I do that one, yeah, I'm going to get 1,800 points. But it's just going to pop up again. And it's just going to be sitting there. Now, I could try to get it at a lower points value, but it's not early on enough for me to want to mess around with all that right now. It's a waste of my time, it's a waste of tasks, and it could turn out to be problematic. So what should my next selection be, saying that I'm still trying to win, right? Well, we know that my keys task for 1,200 is a task that can only ever be worth 2,000 points, and it's sitting there worth 1,200 points right now. So I'm going to leave it sit there for the rest of the game. Because it's a non-premium and it's at a lower points value, it's at a perfect points value. I couldn't be happier about that sitting there right now. Now, the 800 residential, I couldn't be happier about that one sitting there because it's not taking up a spot on my list for a higher points value. Upgrade tasks can pop up in multiples. You can have like 6 upgrade tasks at a time, right? So would I rather have that task sitting in my list of a 2,400 points value, or would I rather have it in my list of an 800 points value, right? So yeah, no, definitely don't want that. Now I'm looking at Tokyo Town building for 1,000. Same general concept, except for that one is a premium. However, if you're a low-level player, and this is why level matters, okay? This is why when you analyze your list, you're looking at level. And you say, well, what level is she? Because if I'm a higher level, this is technically a premium. So I would want to use this as a way to clear and open up a spot for the possibility of a premium task. Now, I wouldn't want to collect on it just yet because it's really, really low. But when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at, okay, I've got the 1,500 war deliveries that I cannot do because my club is not in war. I've got the 2,000 feed making, okay, the 2,000 point feed one making. I've got the carved wood making. I've got the chairs making. Now what do I do? What do I do in the meantime? Well, this bottom one here launched this specific war attack. First off, these tasks are not premiums. They can be worth, some decent points, but they're not premium. I'm not going to do that one because I'm also not in war and the monster is not here. So what should I do? What should be the first thing that I do? Well, in this particular instance, because of my city level, I would probably start the carved wood production, and I would go and I would look at my thing here, and I would start it on a token. And I would say, okay, I'm going to go grab my handy dandy production guide that Missy made, and I'm going to look at the shop, and I'm going to say, okay, I have a 3-star shop, and I want to make it. Well, I guess you couldn't do it for this store because I never did this store. But let's say this was the barn. I would go to my 3-star shop, and I would say, okay, I'm going to be running this specific item, and I want to know how many of this item I can make on a token. Which token do I need to use? And that way I don't waste a silver token when I don't need to, or waste a gold token when I don't need to. I know exactly how many I can finish on each token. And that is what that guide is for. It's to help you guys make the maximum amount of money, but to also pre-plan and micromanage your guys' tasks, okay? I'm going to teach you guys how to use that production guide in part 2 of this video. But for now, I'm going to say, okay, well, shit, I don't have enough tape measures to do this. Well, you know, if I was playing competitively, I would have enough tape measures. Because of this particular instance, you need to know and watch patterns of tasks and say, you know what, I get a lot of tasks that require planks and tape. So before the contest of mares, on my day off, I'm going to use some tokens, or I'm going to take some time to collect a bunch of planks and a bunch of tape and a bunch of nails and things like that, so I have it available for when I get tasks like this. There is a lot of CoM prep and a lot of planning and a lot of time that goes into doing the contest of mares competitively. Now, I would, if I was playing contest of mares competitively, I would have the tape and the planks. So we're going to pretend that I have those and that I've started my carved wood task. I've started it on a token. I see that it takes 30 minutes to make, so I know that if I do it on a 4 times token, that I'm going to finish it really quickly, right? Each one. So if I was to do a gold token, I would end up running out of materials and end up having to just make random shit in that shop, and it would just be a waste of a gold token. So I would want to use a silver token on this. I would be collecting on it, and then I would wait to see what comes up. Now, we're just going to pretend that I did this task for the purpose of the exercise, and I'm going to go ahead and cancel it and see what I get. So pretend we did it. Now I've got a wood production. I know that one's probably going to be worth, probably I'm going to go ahead and take a guess of 1,700 points. Okay? And now I've got all this feed sitting in there, so now I can't do that one. So what do I do now? Well, I've got this chair task. So I'm going to go over there and I'm going to start a silver token on the chair task, and I'm going to do that one. So we're going to pretend that I did this task, right? Now I've got a launch VU. I don't know which one it is. It could be 1, 2, or 3, right? Hopefully it's a 3-pointer. It's a 3K task. My guess is it's probably a 2K task. So let's go ahead and watch the stupid ad to get that taken care of. Which, by the way, I hate these damn ads, you guys. Oh, and if you guys are getting ads for your factories and such, those do eventually go away. I don't know exactly what controls when they go away. I'm pretty certain that it's city level, because after a certain level, my feeder stopped getting them. I just wasn't paying attention to what level that was. So, okay, it is a launch 3. So awesome. Now, would it have given me a launch 3 had I done those 2 tasks? Probably not, because my average wouldn't have been this low. Notice how now my average has fallen. So now I'm at 9 plus 30, 29. So I'm at 29 tasks, right? Completed. I should be right around 60,000 points. So I've fallen below my 2K average. Now all of a sudden I'm getting 3K tasks. See what I'm saying? You have your high times and you have your low times. Had I actually done those tasks, it probably would have given me a 2K one. But in this particular instance, it did not. So now I can do that 3K task. Obviously, I would do the 3K launch. If I don't have VU, then I'm screwed and I need to get some. Now, if I click on my tower here and it does that, that means I need to pay money because I don't have anything available. So how do you pay cash for VU? You click on this like this and it says $40 for 2, right? It's $20 per VU item. Doesn't matter which one it is. it's $20 per VU item. So if you're ever in a situation, do not screw up your task because you are missing like 1 VU or something. Just pay the $20 cash. Do not be one of those people that goes to your Omega Neo thing and pays the remaining cash that you need for the Neo coins. People will go here, they won't have enough Neo coins, and it's like 200 cash or something to pay for the remainder of coins to buy a VU item. That is the stupidest thing you can do, okay? Don't pay 200 cash to pay for Neo coins to get one from the Neo Mall. And if you're somebody who, honestly, it depends on what you are with your Omegas and what you do with your Omega money. But if it were me, I would save the Omega coins for the Omega resources because they take up a lot less room on your map. They have no pollution square, and they do so much more coverage. So don't waste your Neo simoleons on VU. But again, that depends on what you do, what your game is, how you're doing your stuff, right? If you're somebody who has a shit ton of Omega and you make a ton of currency and you just don't care, then whatever. Doesn't really matter, right? So that is the general idea that you want to go through when you're analyzing your list, okay? So let's say that you come to me and you're like, hey, Missy, what task do I do? Well, if somebody says to you, do your highest task, they don't know their head from their ass, okay? If you tell somebody, if you post your list and you say to somebody, what task do I do? And they say, do the highest one. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, okay? Now, pay attention. There's too many things to consider to be able to give you a proper result, like the good advice without actually seeing every single task in your list. If I'm looking at every single task in your list and what's going on in your game to make my selection, then you need to do the same. So let's pretend for a minute that this is your task list and you are in Mega. And by the way, if you're in the lower leagues, you don't get 3,000 point tasks. If that changed this week, I don't know. But up until this week, I know for certain that you do not. Again, what did dumb fucks do over down where they, run this game or whatever? I don't know if they changed that this week. But before this week, you never got 3K tasks in the really lower leagues. I think it's the top 2. Now, I actually have gotten 3K tasks in the lower leagues, but that shit was like, really, it was like a fluke, dude. It was really bizarre. It was like one time in, I think it was like city or town or something. I can't even remember. It's been so long, you guys. And they changed it so periodically. It's ridiculous. Anyways, my point is, we're just going to pretend for a minute that this is your game, okay? Why is this selection so important? Let's pretend that this is your list right here, that the 3K VU is not there, okay? This is your list. It's the start of the contest. And this is what I call setting the scene. This is what I need to know before you ask me what task you should do. You're going to come to me, you're going to show me your list, and I'm going to say, okay, what league are you in? Because if you're in Metro, my answer might change, right? We've already discussed this. Now, if you take and you grab a copy of my CoM guide, I went through each task that you would get between levels 18 and 25, or 24. And that way, saying that you didn't have regionals unlocked, because I didn't want to cover regional tasks just yet. So let's talk about that, okay? Now, you're going to go and you're going to grab my CoM guide, and you're going to say, okay, how do I look at each one of these tasks? What do these tasks mean? What do they do? Are they premiums? Do they pop up in duplicates? All these things you need to consider. So you're going to look at your list. You're going to go, okay, I know I'm in Mega. I know it's the beginning of the contest. I know that your level, what level are you? I know you're below level 4. So I know that you're not going to be able to do that feed task, right, in one shot. I know it's going to take you 2 rounds to do that one, which means it's going to be 6 hours to make it the first time. And then you're going to have to run, you'll be able to click and collect your first batch. Then you'll have to run your second batch. So I know that you're going to have that task actively sitting there, actually started for 6 hours. You're going to make the feed before that, collect the first task, and so on. Now, because it's the start of the contest, you cannot afford to work on other tasks before you complete that one and actually collect on them. That's the biggest mistake people make. The biggest mistake people make is they are impatient, but they either make that mistake or they're way too patient. And what they do is this. They end up in a situation where they have tasks that require that they start them now, but they don't get them going. So what they do is they say, okay, I'm doing the feed task. I'm just going to do that and sit idle for 12 hours. You cannot do that, okay? I would be saying, all right, this is a really bad list, okay? I'm going to break it down into premiums versus non-premiums. So I'm going to have to do that feed task. I'm going to have to do that war task, the war deliveries task. I'm going to have to collect on one or two of these production tasks to get better ones of its points value. Now, I want to keep the upgrade sitting there, and I want to keep the gold keys sitting there, and then I want to keep that probably the 960 cupboards I would never touch. So I'm definitely going to be working on the feed and the W iron and the global or the war one. Now, I still have two up here that I haven't touched. Let's just say I had the wood one as well. If I had the wood one for 1790 and I had the feed one for 2080, and it's the beginning of the contest, what is the correct choice? The correct choice? Well, you know, if it was me and I was of a higher level, I know my competition is much harder. I would be forced to do the feed one first because I can do it in 6 hours. If you're a lower level player and the competition is nowhere near that extreme, you can afford to do the wood one first. That is why city level matters. It matters for a lot of things. It matters for how many factory slots you have unlocked, what kind of tokens you have, what competition you're up against. And that is another thing you're going to want to look at. You're going to want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on your leaderboard. You're going to want to make sure that you're doing a steady pace of assignments, okay? You're going to have times where you can get 5, 6, 7 assignments done in one shot. Then you're going to have some downtimes. Usually the downtimes come at the most inopportune time. It's like right when you wake up and you're ready to like just get shit done. And it's like, boom, you get smacked with a crappy task. Now, that means that you're going to want to say, you know what? Okay, it is a crappy task, but I'm going to get this one done, and then I'm going to have all of these other ones ready for pickup for when I collect on that one. So let's just pretend for a minute that my feed is done and I've collected it, okay? And this is my whole task list now. I got the wood, I got the launch VU. What do I do first? Do I do the wood or do I do the VU if I don't have enough VU? I do not do the wood first. So people will be like, well, you know, I don't have quite enough VU, so I'm just going to lollygag around. No. You need to find VU. And you should have done that on your day off. You should have VU, because if you don't have VU, this is the problem that you're going to run into. If you did not CoM prep, if you don't have a bunch of tape measures and planks and nails, if you don't have VU, if you don't have beach items, you should have all of your beach open for when you get to Mega, right? That way you can utilize those tasks. If you don't have this stuff, you're going to have issues. You do not do land expansion tasks in Mega almost never. Almost never. It's rare, but almost never. So you guys have got to analyze everything. Now I'm going to stop this video so I can get part 2 making, and we're going to go through so-and-so's tasks. We're going to go through Bell's tasks, and we're going to go through CPT's tasks first. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how to make your selection. You guys, this stuff is really important. It takes practice. It takes time to learn. It is not something that comes easy, and you have got to look at everything. You have got to realize that you are limited on time and you're limited on tasks. And every choice that you make should be strategically thought out. Without it, it's not just some simple, oh, just do this. Oh, just do that. No, it is not that simple, okay? All right, you guys, I'm going to end this video and get part 2 making.